name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
Welcome all to Fort Worth, Texas, or virtual Fort Worth, Texas. That is here at the Texas Motor Speedway for race number 2 of round number 1 here in the JoinAPS Cup Series for the 2021 A Elite Racing League season. My name is Rishav Khosla, joined here in the booth by David Westergreen, as always. And, well, we're set for a pretty exciting night here. We're running here at Legacy Texas Motor Speedway, which means pre-configuration Texas. David, talk to us about how this track differs from the one that the Cup Series visits today.
Many of you would have probably watched old NASCAR and watched those Texas races from the late 90s through the mid-2010s. And old Texas put on some good races, and it put on some real snoozers. And it's a classic mile-and-a-half track, kind of the same vein as Atlanta. These guys will be slipping and sliding all day. I think the bottom will be the dominant groove. It's really going to run like kind of old iRacing before that update where they gave the grip strips at the top of some of those other tracks. The bottom's going to be dominant, and so these guys are going to be feeding that all night and trying to get off these corners without spinning their car sideways.
It's going to be really interesting tonight to see how this fares, because this is the final race before Talladega next week, so guys really need to kind of settle into a position that they're hopefully comfortable with before we get to that wild card event. And, well, speaking of the chase, let's take a look at the points as they stand right now. And there you see Josh Adams, your regular season champion, sits 23 points above that cut line, and we go back down. The big shockers for me out of Mid-Ohio are there at the bottom. Johnny Thomas, Gerald Campbell, Hank Steinmiller are all below the cut line. 3 drivers who I would have thought would be, would be well above that. But, you talk about Mid-Ohio and that being another form of wild card race that we hit here on this schedule. And man, oh man, it's certainly shaking things up in this order right now. They're hoping that this traditional 1.5-mile racetrack is enough to vault them back into contention, to not be too nervous about Talladega next week.
And our graphic doesn't show him, but David Tooker is locked into the next round. 19 car, picking up that win at Mid-Ohio. Dominant performance. And with that, I think David Tooker is really, he's got his sights set on another win today. He's got to try to do his best to keep the competition, I think, out of it. As you know, and if you're seeing what I'm seeing here on this scorecard, Tate Lytle's in the 28 car this week. That's not Josh Clark. So I think Josh Clark's going to be in a must-win situation when we get to Talladega in a couple weeks.
It seems to be the case, yeah. So there you go, Tate Lytle filling in there for that number 28 charter. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But qualifying finishing up here, and we'll head over to the grid as cars get ready to go for the safe antifreeze and coolants 250, and it's Colin Fern on the pole position. We've talked about Colin Fern and what he kind of the threat he he is to all the other drivers in this championship right now, how fast that 86 car can be, and showing it right there in qualifying. But championship leader Josh Adams right now qualifying in the front row with him, and like you said, David Tooker qualifying P3 right here. Tooker's a strong qualifier, we know that, but also has been running very well at these 1.5 mile tracks in recent races.
Tyler Fode's by no means completely locked into the next round, but look for that 40 car to try to go ahead and lock himself in today. Johnny Thomas, one of the guys who befell some issues last week. Look to see him try to make his way through and win his first race of the season. And then, Matthew Weeks back in 14th. I expect him to come to the front. Hank Steinmiller is going to be an interesting one. He's brought out the Dale Jr. car once again, and it didn't seem like he was running well until he brought out Michael Waltrip and Kevin Harvick. So we'll see if Hank's going to be able to make Dale Jr. run well. Back through the field, Ryan Gavel, a really poor qualifying run, and Gerald Campbell kind of continuing that luck from last week at Mid-Ohio, where he was spun out a couple of times there and ended up 26th.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting as well, not making qualifying, so he's starting down in 27. So a lot of big hitters here in this chase out towards the bottom of this running order. So we're going to have to see how this all kind of this pans out over the course of the event, but it is going to be Colin Fern leading the inside of that front row as the pace car should be set to roll in just a second here. And we'll be getting underway. There we go. So should be one lap to green flag racing here. Colin Fern, though, not rolling immediately. There we go. Gets everyone back underway.
It's funny, though. The one guy I'm never worried about when it comes to the qualifying is Chuck Sweeting. He intentionally qualifies in the back to make these races more interesting for himself. I think what he does. It can get him in trouble. It's gotten him in trouble before. But this is not an abnormal thing. Chuck does this all the time. That 75 car is always coming to the front, looking for those hard charger awards. I'm in no way worried about Chuck Sweeting. Gavel and Campbell, a little more so, because those guys tend to be up in the front when they're fast, and when they're not, they were just back in the pack. So that's a little more worrisome for me. Yeah,
it's really going to be interesting for those guys mired in the pack, because the likes of Hank Steinmiller, Gerald Campbell, we were talking Ryan Gavel. You'd expect them to be stronger at a track like this more traditional type racetrack, but mired in the pack right now, and if you're right in saying that this might be a single groove racetrack, it could be a very long night for those drivers.
It's going to be tough to pass for sure, I think, but when the tires wear, I think we'll see some guys, that save tires come to the front, some guys that burn their stuff off come back. It's going to be a fun night.
All right, well, pace car is going to peel off, and it's all going to be left to Colin Fern. He's going to decide when this field gets ready to green. He's going to hit the loud pedal now and get going here for the safe antifreeze and coolants. 250, 167 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. Fern clears that number 95, not quite actually through into turn one, but David Tooker, look at him on the bottom. He's going to get side by side with Josh Adams as Adams struggles to get underway early on, and Tooker might be ready to slide up into the second position here with the help of Tyler Fody behind him on that bottom lane.
Colin Fern trying to pick up every bonus point he can early in this race as Adams goes sideways, Leininger sideways in the top lane. The bottom is definitely the more grippy side of this racetrack. Leininger and Adams both having trouble early. Fern out to a pretty big lead here, and the caution is out from back in the field. I think Kendall Noah player, maybe Scott Haney, got into some trouble there.
Yeah, here's this 94 car of Kendall Noah player. You can see the damage on it. We'll head to the iRace Online replay and see what happened. Already just one lap complete, and we've got a caution further back in the field. We'll see what caused this and why we've got our very first caution of the night.
Oh yeah, it's definitely kind of the back of the field wreck here, and we've got a number of guys just struggling with this racetrack, I think. And Kendall just sideways off the corner there, bounces it off the inside wall. Don't know if he was the caution per se, but definitely not the way you want to start this one. I think he's even gone to the garage early on. So Kendall Noah player, a really tough way to start the race.
Yeah, so there you go. Already Kendall Noah player out of this race. Was a chaser last season, hasn't quite had the same luck or fortune, I suppose, in performance this season to follow it up. He's hoping that maybe a track like Talladega he can grab a win as one of the drivers that's not a chaser here. So not the way Kendall Noah player wanted the night to start, though. Looks like he might be his day might be over, though. We have a couple of cars on pit road here. Richard Hines, Chuck Sweeting, of course, making a pit stop here.
Chuck's coming to grab some tires and maybe some gas, see how much longer he can go when this thing eventually goes green. This is a pure Chuck Sweeting move. He'll do it every single time, man. I'm telling you. Just watch out for him. I think he'll be at the front at the end of this one.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Chuck Sweeting. He does do very well on these kind of slick racetracks where typically the rate of attrition is pretty high. So yeah, definitely look out for Chuck Sweeting. As long as he's able to avoid incidents happening in front of him, that 75 car will move forward all night long.
early on. It's Tyler Fode, Chad Frankenfield, and Josh Adams all still in the top 5. So our entire first 7 drivers are chasers, and then 8th place is a chaser's car, but it's Tate Lytle behind the wheel this afternoon. I tried to message Josh Clark. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, so we'll see if there's any news on Josh Clark. Oh, he said he moved into a new house today, has no internet yet.
Oh, okay. So very unfortunate there for Josh Clark. I'm curious. The 28 car now, because we have the charter system here in the Cup Series, is that 28 car eligible to advance through the chase, or is it only drivers who are eligible to advance?
It'd be drivers, I think, and but I think that puts Josh in a must-win spot at Talladega, and he's certainly capable of doing it. He was going to be my pick to win Talladega in the chat earlier when Ethan Burrell and I were talking about it. Ethan, another car not here today, the 37 car on the shelf. This was why Ethan gave up his chase spot originally to David Tooker, who is right there on the outside and through to the next round after winning last week at Mid-Ohio, as we've kind of discussed.
Yeah, David Tooker, really nothing to worry about here, but I'm sure he'd love to pick up some chase points to help him out in the next round here. The lights are out on the pace car, though, and we're getting ready to go. This time, Tooker lining up on the outside. We'll see how he responds to the launch by Colin Fern, or if it's more so that inside line, that bottom lane, that rolls a little bit better on these starts. Josh Adams lost a lot on that first restart, dropping back all the way you can see here in the 5th position. We'll see if that same thing happens to David Tooker. Colin Fern goes a little bit early here, and a little bit of help there for David Tooker from Chad Frankenfield, but you can see already Tyler Fode on that inside lane, rolling so well in that outside lane, not quite getting up to speed the way they might have hoped.
I think we're going to see kind of an Atlanta-style run here where the inside on the restart is just a big advantage. These guys are trying to single out through the field here. You know, it's such a slick track, and it is a one-group racetrack, so you'll watch David Tooker just be unable to really get back into gas. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Might be able to clear Adams here. He made it work on the outside. 19 car, very quick. If you can do that on this slick racetrack. Josh Robin now to the outside, and Robin kind of one of our underdog chasers. He only had the one good run and win at the Bristol night race, but it was a dominant performance, and Robin is, you know, a guy who's been here for years and years. He's capable of pulling off a victory, especially you know, here at a place like Texas, where we've seen him be fast at these mile-and-a-half tracks.
For sure here, and Robin right now hanging out on that top lane here, but you can see just how slick it is, and coming off the corners, he is losing a lot of time. I think he's hoping that he can slot back in line with probably here after Andrew Rucker, where there's a gap between the 64 and the 10 of Jared Rexing, as David Tooker right now, the fastest guy on the racetrack. He's closing back in on Tyler Fode, as we've got a three-way battle for the lead, as Fode goes for a move on Colin Fern.
Yep, Tyler Fode coming for the lead. If Mr. Fode's watching, here he comes, going for the lead, grabbing that extra bonus point. He'll be setting sail, I think, too. Tyler Fode looking very strong early in this race.
There you go. So Tyler Fode to the lead, and he'll now lead a lap here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Tooker follows Fode through to second, so Tyler Fode kind of up front where he wants to be in these racetracks. He likes to race from the lead at these places, tries to lead as many laps as he can, and he's not saving his tires this time. Normally you do see that 40 car really back it off early, save the tires, come back to the front. How about this drive by Johnny Thomas, though, man? He's challenging Colin Fern for the 4th spot. 09 car moving nothing but forward early on.
Yeah, Johnny Thomas looking good, but Colin Fern fading quickly here. The second he lost that position to Tyler Fode, it's been just absolutely zero forward momentum. Yeah, there you go. Tate sideways while they were 2x2 there, but Colin Fern right now really falling back. Again, looks like he might slot in just in front of Josh Adams potentially, but hanging on right now on the outside. This outside lane not working at all for drivers. There's just no momentum, especially here off of turn 4 for Colin Fern to keep up with the rest of these guys.
These guys are running into a kind of a phenomenon with iRacing where that outside line burns the tires off the car a lot faster than the inside line. So as soon as you get put up there, as soon as you run through that corner one time, like Colin Fern did, it scrubs off a lot of percentage on your tires, and then it'll be really difficult for you to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack anyway, because guys are just streaming underneath you. It's almost like a short track in that respect, but the outside lane burning that tire off just makes Colin Fern's car handle so much worse. He can't get the power down. He falls back into the field, and he has to try to cool his tires off before he can make a run back in the front.
Yeah, so Colin Fern settles back into position in the 7th spot here behind Andrew Rucker, like we said, as Rucker still working on the back of Tate Lytle to try and see if he can make a move. He's going to look to the inside here in turn 3. Rucker returning after a brief hiatus here in the Cup Series. He makes that move and up into the 5th position.
Good move by Rucker there. I was trying to look back and see. It was Rusty Capel. Saw someone on the bottom earlier on in this restart, and Rusty Capel, as the other car one lap down, had some trouble, I think, on the restart. But made it going. He's fine, and we're back running. For the time being, it's just a single file train on the bottom of the racetrack, kind of like I predicted before the race.
Yeah, I was going to say something that's a little amusing to me to look at is here you see the 56 car of Michael Daniel Martinez. This is the car typically driven by Tate Lytle, so a little bit of musical chairs as opposed to the Pro Edge Racing camp where you got Tate Lytle filling in that 28 car and Michael Daniel Martinez filling in the typical Tate Lytle car, the 56.
Yeah, that's kind of amusing. And Matthew Weeks there as well, another chase driver out there in P11. Ryan Gavel up to 14th after that slow qualifying run. We finally got some word from Ryan Gavel on what that was. He started his qualifying run pretty late in the session, was coming to the line to get his lap, which probably would have been a top 10 lap. Timer ran out on qualifying. Ryan Gavel did not get the lap in. He had to take his first lap, which was the 24th fastest lap.
Okay, there you go. So, yeah, just a little bit aggressive with timing on qualifying, and there you go. You can see just how detrimental that can be for a driver, but he's got good pace here, running up in P14 right now, chasing down teammate Damian Leininger. So we'll see, though, if Ryan Gavel has anything, or if right now we're kind of at the point in this race where it might be just kind of a sit-and-ride type deal, as we haven't seen too many very aggressive moves here nor there. But Josh Robin, Jared Rexing, Josh Adams right now are probably one of the most feisty battles we've got on the racetrack here, as Josh Robin was looking to try and get past Josh Adams, and Jared Rexing almost slides up into the wall outside of turn 2 there.
Jared Rexing, another one of those guys like Josh Robin in the playoffs with every chance and opportunity to get in and win a race and make his way to the next round that neither of us just really expect. But Rexing early on, very strong. If you pull up those point standings again, I mean, he's one of those guys that's, I think, in the final 4 or the final 9 right now. No, and he's 4 out, and Robin's 4 in, so it's right there. They're both on the bubble, and they're both hunting Colin Fern down. Looks like this 86 car is really struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. So Jared Rexing makes the move here on Josh Robin. I was going to say, Josh Robin, Jared Rexing, two guys that we'd also expect to be very strong next week at Talladega. So these guys really just need to get a solid run in tonight, be thereabouts above the cut line, and they should be fairly okay. Obviously, Talladega can be pretty, pretty sketchy for everybody and a complete wild card, but there are some consistent things that we see at Talladega, and two of those are Josh Robin and Jared Rexing running up front a lot of the time when we race there.
Funny, you mentioned Jared Rexing. He won the Xfinity race at Talladega on Monday. He was one of the cars that was just up in the front the whole race and managed to pull it off. Photo finish, by the way, with Damian Leininger. There's a couple cars behind him there in the 12. Both of those guys, or Jared not in the chase, Leininger was in the chase. That was a really compelling finish to the round. Just to cover it quickly, Chad Frankenfield ended up out by 2 points. Tank Steinmiller in by 2 points. Chuck Sweeting, one of the guys who fell out. It was a chaotic race at Talladega. A couple of big crashes late. Chad was involved in one of the crashes, and that's what knocked him out. So, and Chad was the leader with 4 or 5 laps to go. So it can happen just that quickly for these guys coming up at Talladega. And Chad was really good too. He was 15 or 16 points to the good, entering 5 laps to go. Fell all the way out. That is dangerous for these guys coming up next week, and no lead is going to be safe unless you win this race.
Yeah, it's going to be so tricky for these guys, and like you said there, you can go from leading the race, ready to be locked in 1 lap, and then being out with out of it by 2 points by the next lap when a checkered flag waves. So again, there's a reason we talk about Talladega being an absolute wild card of an event.
Yeah, Tyler Fode has maintained his lead. The change in the top group is that Johnny Thomas has fallen from 4th to 6th. Move Tate Lytle and Andrew Rucker into the top 5. And Josh Adams and Johnny Thomas are both falling into the clutches of Jared Rexing. It looks like this 10 car has really saved his tires nicely, starting to move forward.
Yeah, update on Gerald Campbell. He's still running in the 21st position. This is the car that I might be more worried about that doesn't actually have the pace. We heard about Ryan Gavel and him not having him not having a qualifying that went well. But here's the live standings as they run right now, and you can see there, Josh Adams, Tyler Fode is right now, would be locked if he won. We're going as we are, but there you see Johnny Thomas kind of helping pull himself a little bit out of there, but Gerald Campbell now minus 26 to the good in his current position. That's not really what you'd expect to see from the guy who finished, what was it, third in the regular season championship, third or fourth? I mean,
it was interesting. Because we covered it in our playoff preview show, and I think I had Gerald Campbell missing this first round. I felt like the tracks just really didn't align for him. Road course race, then Texas. He's kind of it's kind of an unknown for everybody because nobody runs it on the surface because it's the old track versus the new track, and Gerald tends to be more of one of those guys who's very good on the short run, not this good on the long run, tends to fall back a little bit. Chuck Sweeting right there behind him now. So with a little extra time Chuck has, and maybe a little extra fuel, Chuck's going to try to stay out, pick up some bonus points. I just feel like Gerald might be in a must-win situation, and that'll create, I think, 2 drivers at minimum in a must-win situation next week between Gerald and Josh Clark. Long way to go, though, of course.
Yeah, very long way to go, but you saw there Gerald Campbell just kind of on track right now on his own. Some ways back from Chad Thornquist up in the 20th position, some ways ahead of Chuck Sweeting right now in the 22nd position. So Gerald Campbell kind of in a world of his own. Tyler Fode right now, not really too much threat from behind by David Tooker. Tooker staying reasonably close, within 0.4 of a second, but not within real striking distance here. And the field as a whole is kind of spread out a little bit here. All the way down to about this battle for 12th position with Michael Daniel Martinez, Ryan Gavel, and Damian Leininger being the first kind of close battle we've got on track, other than maybe a battle here for 10th position with Matthew Weeks now looking to the inside of Josh Robin.
This is for 9th. Weeks up into 9th. That 11 car is another one who I think saved its tires. Now he's going to try to use them to climb up through the field a little bit. Weeks very, very good at that. He pretty much does that same thing every week. Takes it early, or a little bit easy on those restarts, and then drives through the field with the fresher rubber while other guys are struggling in front of him because they burned their stuff off. I think Weeks is one of the best in this series at that. And another good one at that is Ryan Gavel, who's back here in 13th. But certainly starting to move forward. Just went around his teammate Damian Leininger and put pressure on Daniel Martinez.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the progress here of the one car of Ryan Gavel. Was very strong all throughout the regular season. We've talked about him so many times this season where, this one car has been really, really strong. Hasn't quite put it in victory lane just yet, but has been so consistent in the results that he's put down. Was in that kind of battle for the regular season championship. Didn't quite get it there with Josh Adams grabbing that at Daytona for the final race of the regular season. But yeah, Ryan Gavel, one of those guys that you'd expect to see advance from this round, no problem. But and right now sits in a fairly comfortable spot as it is, but not quite as comfortable as I'm sure he might wish he was. Just plus 11 to the good right now.
Yeah, Gavel not nearly as he just hasn't been nearly as dominant as he was early in the season. He was fixing to set some records. They're going for I think like 6 or 7 consecutive top 5 finishes, and it's the kind of he was looking at the kind of season Tyler Fode has had in the Xfinity series, where in all of the races, I think 12 or 13 races, Fode has not finished worse than 6th. So he's having an incredible season down there in the Xfinity series. Gavel was on pace for something like that for a while, and it is really just kind of fallen off a little bit. I think one car just not nearly as strong of late as Matthew Weeks has completed that pass on Josh Robin. He's now working his way into this group. This is a pretty hotly contested group from 5th all the way back to looks like 11th.
Yeah, nice little battle here as Andrew Rucker kind of separated back from the top 4 with Tyler Fode, David Tooker, Chad Frankenfield, and Tate Lytle. From Rucker on back, we've got a nice little battle. Everybody, no one really further than 0.4 of a second back between 6th and 11th position here. Then a bit of a gap back to Michael Daniel Martinez after Colin Fern.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Josh Robin completely sideways exiting that corner. Colin Fern putting pressure on him now. That was a moment there for Josh Robin. I thought he was going to lose the 8 car, and that would have been another car, second caution of the day. But Robin gathered it up. He's going to lose a spot, but better to lose the single spot, maybe heat the tires a little bit, than to nose it into the wall like Kendall Noah Player did early in the race.
Yeah, good save there for Josh Robin. Stays, lose that position to Fern, but back in line here and back in contention. No real, major concerns. Long way to go in this race still. Just 30 laps complete in 1:67.
Going to be tough for these guys, I think, to keep going with these older tires, especially the more these cars flip sideways or run the top or anything that's going to hit these, grind the percentage off these tires. These guys are going to start thinking about short pitting, trying to get every single set of tires on the car before the end of the race. I'm not entirely sure how many they have. I assume it's, four or five, but it's going to be all about, oh, Rucker must have hit the wall up ahead. He loses several spots, and Rexing goes around Thomas. He'll also get Rucker in that corner. So move Jared Rexing up into, I believe, P5.
Yeah, let's head to the iRace Online replay, see what we can find about this 64 car of Andrew Rucker. What happened to him down that back straightaway? Because lost a ton of positions there. Like you said, might have just gotten a little bit friendly with the outside wall here from turn 2. And let's take a look. There it is. You see, just bounces off, gets it loose. Does a good job keeping off that inside wall that we saw Kendall Noah player hit, but it is going to lose him a ton of positions, and that right side fender is going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit bent down.
Gavel sideways! Ryan Gavel tried to get a little too much on the older tires, and Rucker just held it in there and about had another big wreck. We've had a number of moments in the last couple of laps. Like I said, the tires really starting to get to wear on these drivers, and they can't make the moves that they could earlier.
Yeah, absolutely here, and Ryan Gavel did make the pass on Michael Daniel Martinez, but yeah, almost lost it underneath Andrew Rucker. Now Damian Leininger is going to go around the outside there with 56, but let's see, Gavel back in it. I think there's more pace in that one car than the 64 right now, especially with Rucker picking up that damage to the right front fender, but can Gavel get by without, without getting sideways as he did that time around? Might have been a little bit of netcode when we flipped over. But here we go, Ryan Gavel going forward again to the bottom lane in turns 1 and 2. Rucker going to squeeze him as tight down to the bottom as he can. But Gavel still able to hang on, I think, to the quarter panel as Damian Leininger, I think, almost bounced off the wall there.
Kind of a bit of a disrespectful run here from that 64 car. A little bit damaged. Playoff driver trying to run you out of the way. You got to kind of yield your line here, especially when he's definitely faster. I mean, look at the cars stacking up behind the 64 now, and Gavel able to make that move here, and Rucker's going to lose like 6 or 7 spots.
Yeah, here we go. Andrew Rucker now 2 lanes up off that bottom, and it's going to be tough for him to get back down there. Does slot in right in front of Damian Leininger, but now Leininger moves to the inside trying to make a move, and yeah, here you go. You've got Daniel Martinez, you've got Hank Steinmiller, you've got, who else do we have? Josh Personette, Jeff Green, all of these guys now stacking up behind the 64 car trying to get by.
Yep, it comes the roadblock once you get that damage. That right front fender just parachutes out. Martinez trying to get back underneath Leininger. Leininger actually went around him on the outside, so I wonder if that 12 car may be a little bit stronger than we've kind of seen. Now Steinmiller will be backed up behind the 64 and try to go underneath.
Yeah, Hank Steinmiller going to want to try and clear this 64 as soon as possible. But again, here you see Andrew Rucker giving him just over a lane there on the bottom and able to work that kind of top lane and maintain the run there off of turn 4. We'll see what kind of run Hank Steinmiller can get, though, to get past, because for Hank, he doesn't want to lose touch with the likes of the 56, the 12, or the 1 here right yet, at least not yet.
No, definitely not. Hank's moved forward nicely, went back early in the race. I think he was maybe saving his tires a little bit. Now he'll be back in there, 14th now for the 63 car. And, as you know, I think he's not our lowest chaser. That, I think, still belongs to Gerald Campbell. 31 car is behind Chuck Sweeting now, so Gerald just having no luck early in this race. He's really having difficulty moving up.
Yes, he is. Yeah, not quite going the way that Gerald Campbell was hoping so far, but wanted to shout out a couple of guys here just on the back end of this top 20 here. Joshua Personette right now running pretty strong here with the likes of Jeff Green, Hank Steinmiller, Andrew Rucker, all these guys right now. Jeff Green just made the pass here on Josh Personette. Alexander Van de Sant, who's been, I think he's come in as an open driver actually, or might even be filling in for the vacant RC Anderson based off that number 50 number on his car.
I think that's what it is. I think he's in for RC.
So,
and yeah, good run for him. And then Chad Thornquist told us not to cover him because every time we cover him, it seems like he bounces off the wall or bounces off another car or something like that. He was like, guys, you got to stop covering me because every time you talk about me, I find myself in the wall. He had a leg cramp at Darlington. Just a number of those issues for poor Chad Thornquist.
Yeah, so instead we'll kind of scroll a little bit further back and talk about Chuck Sweeting, who's moving forward right now, has a lot of pace in that 75 car right now. In terms of cars in front of him with, yeah, I think he's faster than the next 7 cars in front of him. So right now, very, very strong pace from Chuck Sweeting. The next car who put down a lap time that was faster than Chuck Sweeting was 13th place Michael Daniel Martinez. So Sweeting has some pace here. He's got some work to do to get by all these cars in between him and probably where the pace of that 75 car is. But that's part of that kind of first couple of stints here when you qualify in the back like Chuck Sweeting likes to do.
Yeah, Chuck's going to have to find something in the pit cycles that'll move him back to the front of the field. He's going to need a lot of help, I think, because he's lost so much track position from this long green flag run. As someone bounced it off the fence, might have been Ryan Gavel.
It was Ryan Gavel, so he's now losing a couple of positions. He drops now down back to the 12th position, maybe 13th if Damian Leininger goes by. What's the damage on that number 1 car? I can't quite see any. So he might have just avoided something, but might have gotten loose off of turn 2 there. Avoided hitting the wall by the looks of that car, though.
Yeah, no, I think Ryan Gavel's going to be okay. May have just had a moment there exiting turn 2, and that seems to be the trouble spot. Guys are tending to get loose over there off 2 or getting tight and pushing into the wall.
Yep, so there you go. Gavel with another mistake there this race, hoping that he can kind of reel it back. Seems like there is still some... seems like there is still some issues here for drivers as they're going around this racetrack. As the tires get older, we are running lap 43 now of 167, and while we did have that early caution, what do you think is going to be kind of the pit window that we're looking at here for these drivers in terms of coming in for fuel or tires, whichever might be first here?
I'm not entirely sure. I think probably lap 50 to 50, 50 to 60, trying to make it on 3 stops there, or 2 stops rather. Something like that. You probably want to 2-stop this race. So just getting it over lap 50, you do 50, then you do 50, then you do, or maybe 53, and then 60 laps, something like that. I envision we're going to have another caution. We've had so many moments exiting these corners. You probably want to plan for a caution. Just pit it as soon as you can. But once we start getting guys hitting pit road, we're going to get that big gap between the tire fall off with guys who are running a lot slower than cars with new tires, and that may cause a caution in and of itself.
Absolutely. So we'll have to see here. You don't want to be the first guy to come down pit road because you put yourself at risk of going down or being trapped down those laps if a caution does come out. So guys right now having to kind of hang on, as you see a bit of a blink there from Damian Leininger, but having to hang on right now and hope for that caution to come out, or wait until one brave soul kind of forces everybody else to come down pit road.
Yeah, someone's going to do it, and it might be Chuck Sweeting. Chuck tends to want to go longer on these stints. Might be Jeff Green. He tends to pit early and try to move through the field on those new tires and see if he can pick up a big advantage. Jared Rexing now trying to go around our points leader Josh Adams, and Matthew Weeks is just going to follow through. Adams doesn't put up a fight.
Yep, so there you go. Matthew Weeks up in position, now going to try and get by Jared Rexing, see what he can do. But yeah, Matthew Weeks right now, lots of forward momentum. He's moved up quite a few positions since the start of this race. As there you see, I think that was Brent Jones off of pit road, and a couple of guys further back. Andrew Rucker now hits pit road.
We've lost the 31 car of Gerald Campbell. He is out of the race, 4 laps down. So I think we might even need to go find a replay. The 31 car may have bounced it off the wall.
Yeah, this one might take a little while because it was actually 6 laps ago that we lost Gerald Campbell. So we're gonna have to take a look and see what we find here. But yeah, wow, crazy to see there, and great catch there, because it was a pretty silent retirement from this race for Gerald Campbell.
Lost Campbell, and the other cars that were on pit road were Rucker and Dusty Dewar, trying for that early pit stop strategy. So I'll keep an eye on who else goes down pit road. Looks like right now Dusty's 2 laps down, so that may not be working out for him. Rucker the only one, and he came down to fix that damage, I'm sure.
Yeah, so just watching here, this is Gerald Campbell in terms of, this was just a couple of laps before he brought it down. I mean, I was scrubbing back through the replay, and I didn't see Gerald Campbell touch the wall at all. I think it was just a simple matter of Gerald Campbell brought it down to pit road and parked the car.
That's a very curious reaction, I guess, to having a you know, 20th place car. You know, it's something you can get better on. The cautions can come out.
Yeah, not quite sure of the exact situation with Gerald Campbell. Don't want to, you know, make a full comment on that quite yet until you know, I'll see if we can hear from Gerald about what happened there. But yeah, man, kind of surprising there for that 31 car. Thought he might kind of be hanging in there a little bit right now. Hopefully see the race come to him, but I think we're about to see him now come down pit road after this move by the 87, and there it is. You do see the 31 dive down to pit road, and that was when the car was last seen on the racetrack. It was then brought into the garage, and it was day over for Gerald Campbell.
I wonder if he sped on pit road or something too, and was trying to maybe enact a good strategy and just messed up his pit entrance. Looks like he was getting onto pit road a little bit quick. Maybe that's what he felt like cost him the race, to where he couldn't really make any more moves. Because that would be pretty devastating to go 2 or 3 laps down under the green flag pit cycle and try to make all that back up in you know, just 100 laps or so. Matthew Weeks has moved around Jared Rexing and into 5th.
Yeah, great catch there. Matthew Weeks up into the top.
Whoa! Oh, he's getting to pit road. Josh Adams coming to pit road, the points leader. Ooh, caught that one at a weird time there, exiting turn 4. Thought Adams might have spun out. No, he was just slowing down to head to pit road.
Yeah, so Josh Adams is going to be the one to kind of take this risk early on and try to sneak by and bring that 95 car down pit road. He does put himself at risk right now because, you know, a caution comes out right now, and he could certainly be in danger of going multiple laps down, or at least 1 lap down here. Meanwhile, the battle continues on here for 3rd position as Tate Lytle, I think, is getting closer to this 15 car of Chad Franken.
Tate's been kind of pressuring Chad all race long. In the Josh Clark car, looking to give it a good run for his teammate and buddy that's unable to race tonight with the no lack of internet.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Josh Clark, but Tate Lytle, what he can do is take points off of other chasers to make it easier for his teammates who are in this fight still. So Matthew Weeks still needs to point his way in to this chase. So right now Matthew's in a fairly comfortable position, but taking any points off of Matthew's competitors is probably a job well done there for the teammate of that 11 car.
I remember last week Tate Lytle and Matthew Weeks had that battle into the final turn, and Tate, definitely wasn't trying to pass his teammates. Here comes Chad Frankenfield down pit road.
Yep. So
Tate was giving his teammate a good bit of a break there.
Yeah, Frankenfield responds then to the move by Josh Adams, and there you see the pace difference. That's Dusty Dewar a lap down, going past the 11 car, and you're going to see the same thing with Michael Goodman as well, getting past Jared Rexing in the 10. There is quite a bit of an advantage here on tires to get by. We're looking at maybe 2 seconds a lap here as Michael Goodman slides around the outside here of these 2 chasers. So you're going to want to get down on pit road soon, but sooner rather than later to try and get that advantage. But also, the longer you stay out, that means you've got a faster car theoretically when everybody else wears their tires down. So it balances itself out pretty well as a whole. You just need to kind of time that just right as to when you need to make your car down pit, or you need to bring your car down pit road.
Johnny Thomas, Damian Leininger, Daniel Martinez, all on pit road, trying to go ahead and put the tires on these cars. These guys are going to, as Ryan Gavel now on pit road as well. So a number of the chasers have come down, and a number of them have decided that staying out and waiting for a caution is the strategy.
Yeah, so, and I mean, this is honestly the best time of the race to have, a caution come out, because you have so much difference in pace between drivers. And you see here situations where, you've got Dustin Dewar and Michael Goodman fighting a guy like Taylor. There you go.
Oh, Goody with an amazing save. Oh, man. Just got a little close there to Tate.
But as I was just going to say, I mean, you've got exactly that situation where you have guys who aren't used to racing each other wheel to wheel. Very big differences in pace, and situations like that can arise so easily. Amazing driving by both, Dustin Dewar and Tate Lytle not to have those cars come down, in pieces to pit road and bring out a caution. But, yeah, man, that so easily could have been a caution and trapped a lot of drivers a lap down.
Yeah. Here comes Ishan Dura, another one with fresher tires, and I think Goodman slid the tires there. You can still see the advantage, but it is certainly decreased a little bit for this 44 car. Both he and Tate Lytle slid those tires sideways, and now Tate's going to yield the spot to the 2 cars there who are on those fresher tires. Looking through the field, it really looks like just this top 5 that we've kind of been following all race. Colin Fern, Hank Steinmiller, and Chuck Sweeting, the only ones that are really, out here doing what they've been doing with the tire strategy, going as long as possible. I wonder if you can make it on 2 stops.
Yeah, that'd be tricky to make it, I think, that far. We're looking at probably going, that would be another 20 or so laps at the very minimum to make it. Or, sorry, you said 2 stops. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. 1 stop is what I was thinking. But no, that's probably too far. These guys are definitely waiting for a caution, especially if they've seen the smoke from the 44 and the 28 getting together.
Yeah,
exactly. There's that possibility, and they're going to try to drag it out as long as possible because they'll have a big advantage once they strap the tires on.
Yep, they will, and yeah, you're trying to keep this advantage as long as possible. Obviously, they're going to lose that track position initially, but should have enough of a pace advantage to allow them to kind of slot back into where they should have been before. It can sometimes not quite work out perfectly for these guys, but yeah, right now this is the safest way to tackle this race right now is keep yourself out there until the tank runs dry. You don't put yourself at risk of going down a lap in case there is a caution.
Right, there might not be, which would, I think, yield the benefit to these guys that are staying out. They're going to have the fresher tires for a longer portion of the run, and they're going to be the ones making the charges, and the other guys are going to be the ones that are kind of setting up and waiting back. You've got Johnny Thomas on the charge right now, trying to get as much ground as he can, 3 wide through the middle. Reminiscent of Kyle Larson last week at Darlington, trying to cut through lap traffic and catch up with Martin Truex Jr.
There you go. Johnny Thomas trying to get his lap back on Chuck Sweeting and Jeff Green, who are both running 8th and 9th right now in the order. In terms of chasers, I mean, outside of Tate Lytle, we've got our top 8 are all chasers currently who have stayed out right now. So a lot of the guys who are fighting for a championship have made that call to stay out on the racetrack. It's not until you get quite a bit further back into the order that you really find the guys who made that pit stop. So a bit of a split strategy here between the 14 guys who are fighting for a championship, or 13 now, or excuse me, 12 that we've got left in this race.
Colin Fern on pit road now, so one of our championship contenders that you mentioned has hit pit road and given up his spot. Jeff Green has followed him down pit road, teammates over there at Ruthless Motorsports. We'll see if Tyler Fode follows suit here, and yes, I think the 40 car is heading on pit road.
There he is, Tyler Fode down to pit road speed, their leader. After a couple laps there, he's going to give that up to David Tooker. Tooker, Matthew Weeks, Tate Lytle all staying out on the racetrack. Same thing with Jared Rexing and Hank Steinmiller as well. So a lot of guys still staying out. Chuck Sweeting, though, brings that car down pit road, so pitting on the same lap as Tyler Fode. Josh Personette and Chuck Sweeting, Josh Personette and Chad Thornquist will also make their way down pit road. So David Tooker now becomes your leader of this race. He's already locked in, so not looking for those extra points, but is now going to come down pit road.
Matthew Weeks just took the lead from his teammate David Tooker, and that is a bonus point for the 11 car.
It absolutely is. So that's going to be super important for Matthew Weeks, who isn't locked in quite yet. We'll try to update those live chase points that we've got for you guys as everybody cycles through right now. But yeah, Matthew Weeks, your leader, as Jared Rexing hangs out in 3rd position. You've got this gaggle of cars right in front of him with the 28 of Tate Lytle, as well as Michael Daniel Martinez and Damian Leininger trying to get past. There you see the 28 now dives off to pit road. So that means Matthew Weeks and Jared Rexing, the 2 cars, still out on the racetrack. Hank Steinmiller as well joining them.
Hank's probably also trying to employ that strategy of grabbing a bonus point for a lap led. Lytle now on pit road. The 28 car has come down. I'm trying to look and see who else, but I think once we shake things out, it's going to be Josh Adams out front of Tyler Fode, but not for long.
Yeah, not for too long. Tyler Fode just 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds behind Josh Adams, and even ahead of Josh Adams is Chad Frankenfield, actually, who pitted.
That's who it is.
Who pitted quite a bit earlier, I think, than even that 95 car. Or actually, no, Chad Frankenfield pitted more recently than the 95.
Yeah, Frankenfield, I think, is going to be the leader, and by a sizable margin. He's got a really, really large gap back to Tyler Fode, so it's going to be, I think, the Chad Frankenfield machine. You see what all it's done is now Hank Steinmiller does get that lap led The 63 car was, I think, definitely trying to play into that. And he's going to have to make up a lot of ground. He might even be a lap down to Chad Frankenfield once this cycles through. It's going to be close, I think.
Yeah, so Tyler Fode does make it. Oh, no, excuse me. Tyler Fode not passing Josh Adams just yet, but that gap now down to just 1.5 seconds on the racetrack. So the speed on that 40 car is pretty significant here, looking at about a second a lap faster than both Josh Adams and Chad Frankenfield. The thing is, though, Chad Frankenfield is 6 seconds ahead.
Big gains for Frankenfield. The race leader right now, by the way, is Tyler Dixon. He has not pitted. 54 car staying out to pick up a lap lead. He ended up not making the chase, but he's had a fairly good season around that. There he goes, yielding the lead to Chad Frankenfield, and now Frankenfield will be out front picking up his bonus point for lap lead, and it's a big gap back from Frankenfield to Adams, Fode, and Leininger, who are now the top 4.
How about that number placement on that 54 car?
Yeah, it's off to the side there, you know. I don't know. What do you think about the numbers being moved back? I think with the new car, there's some potential where you can do that, as Tyler Fode is going to make the move on Adams now for second. I think there's some potential because the door placement seems to be very wide, and so then the cockpit seems to sit a little bit further back in the car to where you could place the number centered up underneath the window net, and it would be technically back like Tyler Dixon has on his car. I don't know what your opinion is on the cars and moving the numbers back. Most people are like rigidly against it, and then there are a few people who are like, I don't care. I think I'm more. It has to look smart. It has to look good. It has to be centered under something. So if you're centering under the window net on the new car, that's moved back. So that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly in the group of, hey, a number's a number. It can sit anywhere on the race car. But yeah, no, I've actually been a fan of some of the mock-ups I've seen of it actually being all the way forward on the race car and giving that entire, using the entire rear quarter panel as well as the door for sponsor space.
The issue, I think, is that it seems like NASCAR sponsors are just a little less creative. One of the sponsors who really does do a good job seems to be Richmar Florist, and they sponsored, I think it was Kyle Larson in the Dirt Bristol race, and we saw Richmar Florist out there. That's one of our league sponsors, and yeah, they were out there. They filled up the car with ads. You could see the logo very clearly. You could see everything. It seems like they did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. It requires, like you said, it requires sponsors to be very smart about how they make their make those liveries, and yeah, hopefully it does lead to some interesting liveries with the next gen cars coming out. But we'll see. Right now, we've got Brandon Key, lap down car right now, trying to battle with Tyler Fode, and he's making the move here on this 40 car. He sits in the 23rd position as it is. Just 6-lap-old tires, though. About the same age, though, as Tyler Fode. He's maybe a little bit newer. But Brandon Key right now with a lot of pace in that 25 car, just unfortunately stuck a little bit far down the order.
Wonder if Brandon Key's maybe pushing it, and Tyler Fode's kind of relaxed. He knows he's got the huge tire advantage on Chad Frankenfield, eating into the lead, no pressure from behind. 40 car running a smart race right now, just not putting himself in any bad situations, and it's what makes Tyler Fode so good at this stuff. Is he is uncannily good at finding a way to stay out of the bad situations. That letting the Brandon Key car by, keeping his tires on his car so he doesn't get run down from behind. Staying out not too long so that he's not super far back, like we're seeing Hank Steinmiller now having to come back from. I think he was nearly a lap down. He's not a lap down anymore, and he's pulling, he's gapping back to Chad Frankenfield. But the 63 car waited so long to pit, he almost lost the lead lap. Tyler Fode's not doing that. He's staying really consistent. He's within himself. He's gonna catch up to Chad and pass him for the lead. 40 car, the race is come right to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler Fode right now just kind of has to roll around. He is pulling still over half a second a lap on Chad Frankenfield. So while Chad got that huge advantage, on and off pit road, and shout out to that 15 car for doing so well on the in and out laps there. It has, it will come back here to Tyler Fode. This advantage is still pretty heavily in the favor of this number 40 car, barring any, unforeseen circumstances. For Chad Frankenfield, realistically, for him, he wants a caution to come out now, within the next 2 laps before Tyler Fode is on his rear bumper.
And Fode's catching him by about 3 or 4 tenths a lap right now, maybe even half a second a lap. The lead just going down. It's now under 2 seconds from the 15 back to the 40, and we could even probably watch Fody close in from the point of view of Chad Frankenfield here. Yeah, here he is midway down the back straightaway. Tyler Fody up on the back straightaway right there. You can see how quickly this 40 car is starting to gain on Chad Frankenfield. The tires just wearing too much, and that's what's going to happen. Chad's playing that short pit strategy. I'd say even short pit even longer. Or even earlier next time. As soon as your window opens to make it to the end of the race, do the short pit. Get in there, get tires, get as big of a lead as you can. Maybe you catch that caution in the segment where we're in right now. So here comes Brandon Key to unlap himself. That is a fairly impressive move by this 25 car.
Yeah, Brandon Key doing a great job right now. Puts himself back onto, I believe it's the lead lap here. And it is, yep. Brandon Key back to being a lead lap car, and that's going to move Zishan Dura into that free pass position. But I guess the move's not quite done by Brandon Key. It is now finally done there. Chad Frankenfield lets him go by with those fresher tires here. So yeah, Brandon Key, great job right now, great drive in this second stint here to put himself back onto that lead lap and kind of stick around. A caution comes out right now, and he's back in this race.
But you know who, that battle, even that little tiny stint side-by-side action, there he is, Tyler Fody moves right in behind Chad Frankenfield. He's now down to a second between the two, and Fody's not even turning hard laps. He seems to be running very relaxed right here. Knows he's just going to reel in his prey. Tony Stewart, here kitty kind of style of racing right now from Tyler Fody. Just knows he's got the car, he's got the pace. He's just waiting. Driving it very calmly and consistently. This 40 car is going to be back in the lead momentarily.
Yeah, Tyler Fody doing a good job right now. But I will say the pace advantage is kind of shrinking a little bit between the 40 and the 15 right now as Tyler Fody's tires just naturally start to wear down. He still has a significant advantage over Chad Frankenfield, but on that last lap, it was only, it was actually under a tenth of a second.
Yeah, I think Chad finally got a little bit, he started really pushing a little bit there. And then I think Tyler Fody's got a bunch in the tank here where Chad can maybe push for a few laps, but it's going to start to give up coming off the corners where he's not going to be able to keep that car under, and Tyler Fody will. So you could see Chad hold him off a little here, but that's going to be a little bit of a desperation move from the 15 car, I think.
Yeah, we'll see how this pans out. Right now, still second between Tyler Fody and Chad Frankenfield. It does just dip under right now. Josh Adams now defending from David Tooker for the third position right now on the racetrack. David Tooker makes quick work of that number 95 car. Remember, Josh Adams was the first of our chasers, realistically, to come down pit road here on this cycle. So he's been out on these tires longer than anybody else, and that's starting to show for him right now as David Tooker, like I said, quick work of that 95, took her back up into third. And, man, this 19 car, scrapes into the chase, finds out that he's in the chase, maybe half a week after thinking he was out of it, wins the first race of of this round, and is right now running in a podium position at the second race of this round. And, David Tooker could be a very serious dark horse for this championship, depending on how that second round goes.
I know we picked our final four, and I was legitimately, if Tooker wins Mid-Ohio, I'm picking him in. If he doesn't win Mid-Ohio, I'm not taking him to the final four. I think I had him not winning Mid-Ohio. Well, what did David Tooker do? He went and won Mid-Ohio. That's the perfect way to give himself a chance. He's going to have these mile-and-a-half tracks, and David Tooker's been very quick on him. I think back to him winning the World 600 last season. This year, he's been quite good on them. Even last year's championship race, David Tooker was, I believe, second or third to Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, Tooker's been impressive. He's really picked up his game on these kind of cookie-cutter type oval racetracks outside of the natural terrain road courses where he is so dominant. And yeah, right now David Tooker looking really strong, doing what he needs to do, just hanging on in third. In theory, he just need to basically start and park that car after a couple of laps, but trying to hang in there, grabbing whatever points he can to just help him to as Alec Balvans gets a little bit loose there off of turn number 2. But yeah,
still a handful out there. These cars are still slippery and tough to drive. We're on lap 86, and we have not had a caution flag since lap number 1.
Yeah, it's been good racing by these guys. They've been doing a great job at holding on to these cars. We got a nice little battle here of Chevy Camaros with Hank Steinmiller, Ryan Gavel, Chuck Sweeting now making the move to the inside of the one of Ryan Gavel, and Sweeting's going to slide on past, I think, to take over the 13th position.
Gavel, I think, had a little bit of an earlier pit stop than these guys, and that's what's kind of forcing the advantage towards Hank Steinmiller and Chuck Sweeting. Ooh, Chuck almost got into Gavel there, let out of it early, and just watching Josh Adams and Chuck Sweeting both drive, in this race today, seeing a lot of give and take from those guys, and it's no wonder for me that they're two of the guys that are solidly in the playoffs, waiting in that final group, trying to make the next round. They are two guys who really do a great job of giving and taking when they're ready. And Chuck Sweeting's going to present. He's going to try to pass, but were the positions in reverse, I think Chuck Sweeting would have let Ryan Gavel go and fall in behind, try to save as much time as he can. We saw that with Josh Adams and David Tooker. Adams just let him go as soon as they get there, and Ryan Gavel performing that same kind of act. It's really difficult to fight side by side, and that's where you can get into trouble at this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, you just have to be smart about how you drive it and how much time you're losing to the guys that you really think you're going to be racing. So yeah, Chuck Sweeting being smart about his race right now, continuously moving forward, as Ryan Gavel right now kind of hanging back in this 14th position, hoping that he can maybe make a little bit more headway up the order. But yeah, right now Ryan Gavel looks like a 14th place car in terms of just pace compared to the rest of the guys around him, but also taking into account that slightly different tire strategy, this one car probably falling back a little bit right now.
Yeah, and speaking of tire strategy, Chad Frankenfield and Tyler Fode have really just balanced the lead right there. I think Fode closed into 0.7 of a second, and then Chad pulled away on him a little bit. A little surprising from that 15 car that he was just harnessing some extra speed later in the run.
Yeah, very impressive right now from Chad Frankenfield to maintain that position and to maintain that gap over Tyler Fode. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's in fact it's gone up a little bit. We saw it go down to as low as 0.8 of a second. Tyler Fode now 1.5 seconds back on Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, how far are they apart here? If we can get a look at them in the front of the field.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Here's Chad Frankenfield.
And Fode hit the line right there.
Yeah, there you see Tyler Fode just behind. So a bit of a gap there between the two drivers here.
And so now the question becomes, does Tyler Fode try to maybe short pit on Chad and get that advantage? I'm really surprised. Thought Tyler Fode was saving it up. Maybe he was overdriving it a little more than we can tell. Fode's just so smooth. It's very hard to tell whether or not he's actually pushing that car. Chad here to complete lap 92, so certainly well over halfway in this race, and a 15 car out front at a D-shaped oval cookie cutter dog leg kind of a track. It's similar to the season finale last year at Atlanta.
Yeah, very similar type of racetrack there, and Chad Frankenfield making this work in his favor right now. So really impressive job here by Chad to continue this run and be as strong as he is.
In a very long green flag stretch, and those races tend to fall into the hands of a guy like Chad Frankenfield. He's very good when it comes to these longer green flag run races. It's just we don't have very many of them. We tend to have a lot of cautions, a lot of aggressive drivers, close quarters racing in this series because a lot of these guys very similar skill sets. So you run into a lot of those caution fest style races, and this race specifically just has not been that. It's been the polar opposite.
Absolutely. Well, here, as things stand right now, as we've settled into this particular stint, this is what your points look like, and it's shifted up a little bit here. Josh Robin, Hank Steinmiller, Johnny Thomas, the three big names right now, kind of out of it in terms of points. That's where it's close on the bubble. Gerald Campbell, Josh Clark right now, very much. Both those drivers, Josh Clark did not make the start. Gerald Campbell is out of this race. Both of those guys will be in must-win situations heading into Talladega. But yeah, there you go. I mean, it's close there at the bubble for a lot of strong cars there. You talked about Chuck Sweeting. He's not quite as clear as I think he'd like to be. He still has, I think, some place to move forward. But sitting in P13 right now, just 4 points above the cut line. Not quite where I think that 75 car wanted to be. And Jerry Rexing just 6 points up. Ryan Gavel a little bit more comfortable. Matthew Weeks looking very good. Colin Fern, Chad Frankenfield obviously sits 23 up, but would be locked in if he did win this race. Tyler Fode and Josh Adams, I think, very comfortable to advance.
I think, the Chuck Sweeting types, that he can't gain any points when everyone is already in the top 10, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's tough for Chuck Sweeting. The only driver drivers that he's in front of are, the guys he's racing around are Hank Steinmiller, Josh Robin, and Ryan Gavel. Well, those are 3 of the 4 cars that are right around him there, so I just feel like it's tough for Chuck especially to make up any ground. It's been tough for Hank to make up any ground coming out of there. It's tough for Johnny to make up any ground. Running ninth, having a good run, but all the guys that are around him are either in front of him or 2 or 3 cars behind him. It's very difficult to make up ground when no one's in big trouble, other than Gerald Campbell, who already had trouble. We've well documented his issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is tricky. You're absolutely right there. So I mean, it just requires to I think Chuck's waiting to hang on right now and hope that maybe something else does happen. You see here Josh Adams kind of falling back, giving up this position to Jared Rexing here. We talked about Josh Adams on the oldest tires here in the field pretty much, at least of any of the chasers. And so he's going to be losing some positions here, probably even to teammate Colin Fern here within the next lap or so.
Yeah, but Adams is playing the short pit strategy, so falling to 7th, he's fine with this. Adams is running his own race. He's not concerned about what these other guys are doing, and it took them a long time in this run for him to fall back to 7th, and I think that was still, he was pitting out of 10th or 12th when he did pit earlier. So this is a net gain for Josh Adams overall, without a doubt.
Yeah, it absolutely has been, and right now sits on 47 laps on this particular stint. If these guys, these guys should be able to do this 2-stop here, so it's going to be just getting yourself probably to around lap 110 or so would be my guess, to pretty safely be able to get you to the end of this race, I think.
I think 110 to 120 will be pit stop time. We'll have to see if anybody tries to short pit. Obviously, that's going to be the kind of biggest kicker, is who goes in early and tries to get, kickstart things, get the drivers around them riled up and attempting to pit early. And then, we've seen Chad Frankenfield's been able to hold on to the lead. If you can get that short pit strategy perfectly timed where you get a couple of laps at 3 seconds a lap faster than the drivers around you, but not too many laps, you can end up with holding the lead like Chad Frankenfield has been able to do over Tyler Fode and David Took.
Yeah, and Chad Frankenfield has even been extending the lead. This has been an impressive run by the 15 car on these older tires. Tyler Fode, I think, has actually burned through his stuff, maybe chasing down that 15 car. Even on 10-lap newer tires, that last time around, Tyler Fode was a tenth of a second slower than Chad Frankenfield, which just shows the great pace that we're seeing here from this 15 car. And this feels eerily similar to that championship run that Chad had at Atlanta last year around.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. Our defending champion hasn't won a race this season. A couple of guys who fought for that regular season title, and Thomas Randy Gavel didn't win a race this season. We've had a lot of, we had Hank Steinmiller and Chuck Sweeting. Those are 2 guys who have won races this season. So, it's been it's proven to be a difficult series to win in. And we've had guys, who we know are fast, like Tate Lytle up here in P4, not win races. David Tooker, it took him until, the first race of the playoffs to win a race.
Yeah, absolutely. It varies so heavily in terms of, you have to be good, like really, really good, but you also have to be lucky. I mean, things have to fall your way. The race has to fall your way. We've seen guys with great pace before, not be able to pull it off and get the win. So, it's all about just hanging out and being there for the entirety of the race, and especially just being in contention in the final 10 or so laps of the race, because a lot can happen in those final laps. But yeah, it's been interesting this season for sure, and we talked about it, just how close everything is because of how difficult it is to win in the series.
It's been difficult, and I'm really pretty shocked that we haven't had a couple of, one or two guys that go off for a couple of wins. But it seems like the guys who have put together, had the pace to put together those wins, have had something happen. As Hank Steinmiller got in behind the 56 car and got real tight exiting the corner. We've seen it before. I think Hank got away with that about as cleanly as you can do. I think he barely touched the wall, took the paint off of the 63 car, but didn't get into it.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, crazy stuff right now. And yeah, shout out to these guys for not having any issues with cautions yet either. So it's been great driving so far, from all of these drivers. And, one thing I did want to mention while we were talking about just the sheer level of competition, we got a text in the driver chat earlier, I think it was earlier today, or it might have been yesterday, from Richard Hines, driver of the number 87 car, about how he went and took part in an official race on iRacing. And, he dominated. He said he walked in there and wall to wall or flag to flag just dominated that race. And he said, man, for a guy who runs in 15th to 20th most weeks, that's incredible. Just shows the level of competition in the elite racing leagues right now. And it really is just extremely competitive here from all of these guys. You have to be so good to be in any kind of contention of winning.
Yeah, I've also run into this where you jump into a official lobby and I know a 15th to 20th place driver most of the time anyway, and starting to get there, but it's like as soon as you jump into this official lobbies, man, you qualify top 5, you're running first or second. It's like, whoa. It does go to show you. I've seen from guys like Brent Jones run top 10, top 15 in those races, and Brent is a solid competitor every week, but definitely doesn't have near the pace of some of these guys. That doesn't mean he's a bad driver. These guys are really good. I mean, Jeff Green, former Xfinity Series champion, runs about 15th to 20th every week in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. That just tells you that the level of competition right now, and it is so good, and it just keeps getting better with each race, realistically. I mean, you can walk into any of these races, and realistically, for me, unless, I'm sitting here closely dissecting practice, I'll walk in. Oh, as we have a car into the wall. Who was that? Was that Hank Steinmiller? No, that was...
Green car. Man, I don't know who's driving the Bobby Labonte car. It's not Tyler Dixon.
That's the 16 of Jordan Owens.
Oh, it's Jordan Owens. Oh, man. Tough break for Jordan. He was I think he was 1 lap down there, but battling to try to catch up there, and not a good racer for Jordan Owens. I'll just see what happened on the iRace Online replay. No caution, though. Another great save by someone who probably shouldn't have made him one, and Scott Haney in there behind. Jordan's clearly trying to let Haney go. Haney tried to tuck in behind him. Just miscalculation on both their parts. Tough break.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Jordan Owens. He's going to bring that 16 car down onto pit road. So there you go. Going to be stationary, and yeah, not great for him, unfortunately. He's been having a solid season so far. Was very much in the conversation towards the end of the season of maybe being able to win his way into the championship with how good he can be at these super speedway tracks, and the final race being at Daytona. Just missed out, though, wasn't quite able to be involved in that conversation. But Jordan Owens, being close to that chase cutoff line is huge for him, and it's been a great progress to see him make over the past season.
21st in points, Jordan Owens. He's also one of those guys who's been getting better and very clearly feeling those results. Very similar to me. We've had a number of chats where we talked about how much better it's been feeling of late. This level of competition, it'll make you better at this stuff. Chad Frankenfield has come to pit road.
Yeah, so there you go. Your leader does come down pit road. That early pit stop is, that's right about when we expected the pit window to really open up here. Chad Frankenfield sitting on pit road. Damian Leininger follows him down. But yeah, lap 112 or 167, you'll be able to make it to the end here. Might be tight on a green-white checker, so we'll have to see if we get in that situation. But I suspect if we do get a green-white checker, we'll have everybody pitting in at this rate. So yeah, shouldn't actually be a concern there for Chad Frankenfield. So now it really is time for Tyler Fode to try and push whatever he's got left in the tank on this car. He's got to try and eke everything out of these tires and be ready to chase down Chad Frankenfield on this final stint.
Yeah, now the question is, does Tyler Fode come down and try to mitigate the bonus that Chad Frankenfield has, or does he stay out really long again and hope that the caution comes out with these guys on the fresh rubber, battling with the guys on old tires? I feel like Fode's kind of showing what he's going to do. He's made his bed. The long run strategy is what he's got, and he's going to have to hope for a caution to shake things up so that Chad just doesn't end up running away with this one.
Yeah, Fode might be a little bit less aggressive, but I think he's going to certainly go towards doubling down, on this particular strategy, just because, he was not going to be able to beat Chad if he goes out on the same tire strategy by the looks of it. He had that advantage of having the faster tires later on. The problem is just when do you come into pit to kind of balance that off so that he does still have tires when he reaches the back end of that 15 car. So Tyler Fode might not go as long compared to Chad Frankenfield as he did in the first stint, but yeah, we'll take a look and see exactly when he comes down.
Tate Lytle, Johnny Thomas, Ryan Gavel on pit road now, and a number of our chasers trying to go ahead and get their tires, battle for that top 10 run, and we've got a number of those guys that have made their bed with that long run strategy staying out again. The caution is the question. Will it come out? Because Chad Frankenfield just set the fastest lap of the race. He is not holding back. He's trying to get on the lead lap again. if the caution were to come out now, Chad would be the lucky dog. He would have to restart at the back of the lead lap. He wants to go ahead and unlap himself. If he can get around Tyler Fode before the caution comes out, he'll do it. Tyler Dixon lets him by.
Yeah, he should be able to get through Tyler Fode here in turns 1 and 2 quite easily. Fode's going to stay high, not going to fight that 15 car. If I'm Tyler Fode, that to me is a sign, hey, I got to make it down pit road now, ASAP. Yep. Yeah, like he's got to come down pit road. Really needs to do this here sooner rather than later for Tyler Fode. That's a huge pace advantage that he's losing right now to Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, and we saw how big of an advantage it went away for Tyler Fode, where he pulled in within a second and then couldn't get any closer. The advantage just seemed to disappear for that 40 car. It's almost like Chad Frankenfield had another gear that he just pulled out from nowhere.
Yeah, really impressive driving by Chad Frankenfield right now. Tyler Fode staying out for another lap, really hoping that this caution flag comes out. And I mean, it's not unlikely that it, there's a good chance that it won't come out or that it might come out. But man, it's a big risk right now that he's, if it doesn't, Tyler Fode could be giving up this race.
Well, the negative for Tyler Fode is a second place finish.
Yeah,
so that's not particularly problematic. You love to run second, and even if it is the first loser and all that, it doesn't lock you into the next round. Talladega looming, but Tyler Fode sticking to his guns. That's what he does. He's been doing it all season. He's been like one of those guys who stays out longer. Him, Hank Steinmiller, Matthew Weeks, and Jared Rexing all have been the ones who come in the latest on these pit stops. Chuck Sweeting as well, and they're 1 through 6 right now, but they're all kind of at risk of losing out to Chad Frankenfield pretty much in a hurry.
Yeah, we're extremely spread out throughout this field right now. There's some close battles between these guys all, further down the order who are lapped down. You've got Johnny Thomas right now fighting it out with Michael Daniel Martinez as they try to get their lap back here on Chuck Sweeting, which they do with some pretty nice, or fairly easily, there you go. But Johnny Thomas now trying to get to the inside of this 56 car. He should make the move now to move up into the 12th position. Seems to do that pretty cleanly. So there you go. Johnny Thomas trying to dig himself out of that hole that was dug for him at Mid-Ohio.
Yep, Johnny struggled last week and certainly rebounded with a nice run today, but it really just, when everyone in front of you is also running that well, it makes it very difficult for Johnny Thomas to make any ground up in the points.
As Tyler Fode stays out on the racetrack right now. David Tooker 1.5 seconds back from Fode. 30.9 this last lap for Tyler Fode, 29.6 last lap for Chad Frankenfield.
Chuck Sweeting on pit road now, and Chuck's going to kind of show you how far back Chad Frankenfield, or how far ahead Chad Frankenfield has gotten. Chuck just now exiting pit road. Chad Frankenfield about to put him a lap down.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just the pace right now of that 15 car and where he is on this racetrack. Chad Frankenfield almost what, a third of a lap ahead of Tyler Fode already, and he just unlapped himself.
Caution's out. There it is.
Oh,
caution has flown. I think it was Corey Abbott in the 7 car, and Tyler Fode gets the caution he needed. Oh man. Now Chad Frankenfield's going to be able to come down pit road with the lead pack, but Tyler Fode is going to be able to come in as the leader. That was the caution that he was looking for. Wow.
That is massive implications for this event. And let's take a look and see who it was. Corey Abbott was coming off of pit road when that caution flag came out. I'm trying to see who that might have been. I saw a quick puff of smoke, but I have no idea.
It had to have been Corey Abbott. I thought he was the one down on the apron there, and maybe it was Michael Goodman. I'm not sure.
Yeah, possibly. Let me take a look and see Michael Goodman. There was, I'm seeing a puff of smoke here, so you can't see it on your screens, but just floating through here, trying to see what I can find in terms of. Ooh, I did see a car there. Who was that? The 50, I think, of Alexander Van de Sant might have been the cause of the caution here. Yes, it was.
Wow.
So let's take a look here and see. Now we get to the iRace Online replay. Look at that 50 car of Alexander Van de Sant filling in for RC Anderson. Hits that outside wall there.
Oh my goodness, for Matthew Weeks, what a save. We're going to have to go on board with Matthew Weeks there. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's going to be a scary ride there for that 11 car, for sure. let's take a look here. Matthew Weeks, and grab the onboard picture here.
Wow. I mean, that was Matthew Weeks' championship hopes right into the, right there.
Yeah.
Almost. And now Matthew Weeks is going to be, pitting from third. I think he did.
Yep.
He did. Tyler Fody might have sped on pit road. He's back to 7th.
Yeah, Tyler Fody spent 33 seconds on pit road there.
I wonder if we missed Tyler Fody bouncing it off the wall at some point in there. And that's when when Chad Frankenfield pulled away from Tyler Fody. That may make some sense for us in terms of why Tyler Fody didn't just keep making ground on Chad Frankenfield. We'll have to ask him after this race, especially if he does end up finishing top 3. If he bounced it off the fence.
I was gonna say it might have been down to netcode on our end, but I did see during that last run. We'll see if we can get the angle here. But the right rear quarter panel of Tyler Fody's car, there you see it, is bent in. So yeah, quite possibly got some damage there on that last run and decided to just fix it here with a longer pit stop. He comes out right behind Chad Frankenfield, so really no loss there for Tyler Fody, down to the 6th position. But yeah, that gives the lead over to David Tooker now.
Wow.
Over Jared Rexing, Matthew Weeks, Hank Steinmiller. A lot of guys who could really do with a victory here. Jared Rexing and Hank Steinmiller especially.
Yep. Especially for Hank, mainly I think Hank's the one that's currently out. Although we haven't updated our. In fact, I'll let you update the points while I read off for our race sponsor, Safe Antifreeze and Coolants. Safe Coolant Cleaning Flush Tablets are they're good enough for 20 coolant cleaning tablets, and you can clean up your car with non-hazardous, non-toxic, biodegradable waste. They're safely remove corrosion and scale from the entire coolant system, from the radiator and heater cores. Safe Coolant Cleaning Flush Tablets are pH balanced for safe and effective use. Pick those up at your local auto store or wherever you can find them, and look them up online. We're really grateful for them to come on board and get these races sponsored, and it's always helpful and always good to have sponsors like them. And as always, I want to thank Rich Mart Florist and C2 Freight. If we want to throw to the commercial for them, they are 2 of our greatest sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. The lights are out on the pace car though, so we'll possibly get to them at the end of this race as we're running out of time. I'm just finishing up rolling through these point updates before I get them to you guys here. So hopefully we get that right before we get back to green flag racing.
3/4 of the field stayed out and it took the wave around there. It was at least 25 cars.
Yeah, so as we go back to green flag racing, this is what it currently looks like here, and that does put Hank Steinmiller back in and Chuck Sweeting out right now. But yeah, that's a very interesting order right now. Johnny Thomas still in a hole that he cannot seem to dig himself out of right now. Chuck Sweeting, Josh Robin, the guy is also missing out. But the pace car is off of pit road here, and David Tooker hits the gas pedal early on, and he's going to give a nice kind of pull here for his teammate, Matthew Weeks, a driver who doesn't need a win for sure, but would certainly love one, especially if it's over the likes of Jared Rexing. And for Pro Edge Racing to grab a couple of wins here, that'd be great. But Chad Frankenfield, look out for this 15 car. Great restart from him all the way up to third.
We'll have to watch out for the back of the field. Those guys are all on old tires. Weeks chops down to the bottom, stays in front of Chad Frankenfield. Those two have, I think, certainly run into each other in the past. And Chad on a mission now, back up into third. He lost the lead with that caution. He lost the winning strategy. He's going to have to work his way back past 2 Pro Edge Racing Toyotas. It's going to be a tall task, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Chad to do that, especially with how good these Toyotas typically are at these 1.5-mile racetracks. David Tooker right now hoping that he can try to get some extra chase points to help boost him in the second round. Matthew Weeks trying to advance himself, guarantee himself a spot into the second round.
Chad Frankenfield, I think, is kind of pushing Matthew Weeks up to the back bumper of David Tooker, and Weeks is going to go after Tooker here, going to jump to the inside. So the push from Chad Frankenfield gives Weeks a chance at the lead here, and he'll be going for that, I think, and try to jump out and run away and hide from Chad Frankenfield. Chad's going to the bottom 3 wide. Oh, and that's going to turn Weeks. Not a good move by Chad. He takes out both Pro Edge cars. Oh,
surely
man.
That's a penalty on the 15 car. We'll take a look. That initially, though.
167, and you were the fastest car in the group. I just don't understand the need to jump 3 wide there.
Yeah,
Like,
let's take a look. That to me looked very clear like that was a Chad Frankenfield. Yeah.
Weeks comes down, but he gives him a lane, and Chad just turns up into him. I don't know.
Let's
That's really frustrating because it takes the Matthew Weeks car completely out of the race.
and
Where
Chad Frankenfield is your new leader right now. So let's take a look here.
call it a racing deal too. How much damage does the 15 have?
I want to ride on board there once again with this 15 car here. I want to watch the hands on the 15 off the corner or heading into turn 3 because I think you actually might see Chad Frankenfield. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what they call that. To me, that's a tricky one to call exactly. It does look, if I was in the steward's booth as David Tooker has to come down and fix that damage, I'd probably put that on the 15 car as that was unnecessary contact. But we do know that, we do know that the stewards have been a little bit more lenient this season in terms of dealing with racing incidents. We'll see what they call on this one. But the way I see it is you also look at where the drivers are that were involved in. Matthew Weeks now sits in 14th and on pit road. He's actually dropping back on pit road. Chad Frankenfield leads the race. That certainly is going to factor, I'm sure, into the stewards' decisions.
We'll see what happens there if Chad ends up yielding spots or not. But what's going to happen is there's going to be fresh tires in from 4th on back, I think. Everyone behind Tyler Fode pitted. So Jared Rexing, Hank Steinmiller, 3rd and 4th. Those guys are going to be on a couple of laps fresher tires. That might be all the advantage those guys need. Brandon Key up into the top 5 all of a sudden. This race has turned completely on its head.
Yeah, Brandon Key stayed out on that last caution to get this top 5 spot. He's out there on, I've got to take a look, but he must be out there on like 50 lap hold. No, he actually just came down pit road. So Brandon Key, with everybody here behind Tyler Fode coming down pit road, that now makes it, Brandon Key legitimately sitting there in 5th position now. So that's awesome strategy work by the driver of the number 25 car and whoever's on his pit box. Really, really great job to get him back into this race. So great to see there for Brandon Key.
Got a word from Damian Leininger. That is a racing incident. And I do not agree with the stewards on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure quite if I agree with the stewards there, especially, again, for me, the thing that tips it over in terms of a Chad Frankenfield fault incident would be the fact that Chad is out there in the lead right now and Matthew Weeks is where is he sitting right now? Is he out of this race even?
He and Dooker are on the lead lap, but pacing behind the field, having picked up their damage. And I think there's that Matthew Weeks is going to have every right to be upset after that one because I don't like that not being a penalty on Chad. If you penalize Chad there, it's all right, I think, because then everybody goes to the back of the lead lap, and Chad's car is obviously less damaged than those, so he's going to be able to make it back up. But just leaving him out there in the lead seems a little bit. It's encouraging that kind of behavior. You wreck your competition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's not the kind of racing that we want to see here for the victories. You don't want to see anything like that ever on the racetrack. I know, obviously, it's not. This isn't real racing. Nobody's life is at risk, but that's just not great racing. You don't want to be wrecking another driver to take the win away. You want to be able to race them free. And I genuinely believe that if you gave it 5 laps, if Chad Frankenfield gave it 5 laps, he could have legitimately gotten past Matthew Weeks and David Tooker with the pace in that 15 car. It was just, for me, where I saw it was impatience on his part, and yeah, the stewards disagree with us though. So I guess we'll leave it there.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the race kind of shakes out here. You've got guys now in Hank Steinmiller, Jared Rexing, who could absolutely use that lock-in before Talladega to win it. And Tyler Fode there, he's had some damage. We don't know how much damage Chad has on the nose of that car. Definitely got into Matthew Weeks pretty hard, so that car could be affected. Rexing and Hank Steinmiller are going to have a couple of lap fresher tires as well. Brandon Key suddenly into the top 5. Ryan Gavel, Johnny Thomas were there ready to strike as well. I think this race could change completely, and some of our kind of key players are now kind of out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. This really shakes things up in this running order, and yeah, with just over 30 laps to go, there's still quite a bit that can happen, but you've taken out a lot of very strong cars from this field, and the pace car's peeling off, and Chad Frankenfield gets underway here. The race is certainly on. You've got 5 chasers inside this top 6, all of them who are desperate to try and grab a win here. Well, not desperate, but certainly would love to grab those extra chase points, I'm sure.
Jared Rexing through to second. This 10 car might be the one that makes the move on Chad Frankenfield. And how badly damaged is this 15 car? And how bad it looks like it's pretty badly damaged. Rexing's just going to stream by on the outside.
Let's see. Here we go. Jared Rexing to that higher groove.
Oh, sideways is Brandon Key.
He saves it, though, in the back of the field, and Brandon Key keeps it moving in the right direction as the battle continues on here between Jared Rexing and Chad Frankenfield.
I don't know if we've given a lap lead to Jared Rexing yet, but he did it. And caution's out. Rexing's the leader.
There you go. +1 to Jared Rexing in terms of
Dusty
grabbing that lap.
Looked like a number of cars that crashed there off of turn 4. Balvans might have been involved. Brent Jones might have been involved. I think Brent might actually be dodging the wreck.
Let's take a look. I think it might have been Dusty Dewar involved in that one. Ooh, this could be very interesting here. So here we go. Pretty crazy up here as Dusty Dewar gets it loose up high, saves it just, and then loses it again, hits Brent Jones, gets flung up into the air. A hard hit for Dusty Dewar. Alec Balvans, Harrison Talon, Brent Jones all involved in that one.
Yeah, Brent, a completely innocent bystander there, and Dusty immediately quits out. Balvans also an innocent bystander. Harrison, who's had a lot of struggles today. I think he's bounced it off the wall a couple of times. So, frustrating day for sure for some of these guys, and see Matthew Weeks there kind of maybe causing that stack up a little bit. That 11 car very badly damaged, but he'll need these cautions. So fix that car up a little bit if he wants to be able to finish on the lead lap.
Yeah, and there's the wild ride for Dusty Dewar. Lands thankfully right way up, but yeah, it looks like day over for that 32 car.
Tough break there, and I completely missed out on Ethan Burrell's in our chat, so there you go. And Scott Crump is also in our chat, so a couple of guys run the races with us, and welcome guys, glad to have you. We also have Damian Leininger's father in here earlier in the race, so good to see him. And Damian's having a pretty good run, kept that 12 car clean.
Yes, he did. Yeah. But yeah, back under caution here now. But it is Jared Rexing who'll be the new race leader after he had a great restart there. That means Tyler Fody will line up alongside, and Chad Frankenfield leads that outside lane. And that we said at the start of the show that outside lane doesn't seem to get going quite as well. So possibly could be the last time we see this 15 car in the lead of the race. But we know just how strong he is even without that, even potentially with some of that damage there to that front right.
Yep, I think Chad's maybe in trouble here, and well, he seems to be lagging back a little bit.
Is this a penalty of sorts for the 15 car? No, he's back in there. Yep.
Back, yeah. But I think the penalty is going to come when Chad has to restart on the outside here. I think that's going to be the big problem for him. That car clearly somewhat damaged in the nose area, and so you can see the splitter is kind of wrinkled up. I think that 15 car nowhere near as strong as it was before that incident with Weeks anyway.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And there you go. Chad Frankenfield brings the car actually down pit road.
Yep, that car was definitely not as strong as it was before. Definitely a heavy damage. So now that sends the race into the hands of Jared Rexing and Tyler Fody. Two guys who've been up front all day long, but haven't really had the track position. Well, Rexing isn't at the track position. Fody led a bunch of laps in the middle of the race, but has kind of lost out in that green flag shuffle to Frankenfield. Now Ryan Gavel into third, Johnny Thomas up into fourth.
Yeah, no, this is a huge shakeup, and once again, I'm going to try and see I think we still have lights on the pace car. I'm going to run us over to our ads here, and we'll be back with hopefully an update on the point situation.
My name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
All right, well, we should be back here and getting ready to go back to green flag racing. We do have a quick update on the point situation as it stands right now, and there you go. Tyler Fode, Josh Adams both stay up top. Jared Rexing would point his way in if he does stay in the lead right now. We'll continue to see how this updates as the race goes on and give you a preliminary points update at the end of this race, though. We're going to see the pace car peel off the racetrack fairly soon here, and there we go. It does go, and Jared Rexing going to control this field, hit that loud pedal, and he'll do that a little bit late here. Ryan Gavel now stays behind him and going to get a huge jump on teammate Tyler Fode. It's now going to be Rexing over Gavel heading down into turn number 1.
Johnny Thomas can take advantage of going underneath Tyler Fode. He'll do just that, but Jared Rexing is gone early on in this one. We'll see if those guys can kind of team up behind. I think Steinmiller trying to clear Fode as well. So, 3 wide goes Tate Lytle. That's going to put Tyler Fode in a precarious position up top.
Yep, here we go. They sorted out a little bit there. Tyler Fode they all get back in line, it looks like. There we go, but here you go. Chuck Sweeting side by side with Jeff Green, who's up the order. Oh, Jeff Green gets loose there on the bottom as well. Guys just trying to sort out right now. Damian Leininger.
Saved it again, and man, Damian sideways, he crashed it.
Oh.
Took out Colin Fern with him. Big hit for Fern, and that is another playoff implication. I think Tooker was the one there.
And very close for Weeks as well. Here we go. So another caution flag is out. Cautions certainly breed cautions here, and yeah, Colin Fern, the car with massive, massive damage there from that incident. That's huge implications for that 86.
Yeah, I don't think Damian really got into anything right up until Josh Robin got into his back bumper to see how much damage Robin has, but this race has just absolutely gone haywire. Ooh, man, Michael Goodman pounds off of the 86 car. Colin Fern done for the day. That's the pole sitter.
Yeah, pole sitter there was looking really strong all day long. Colin Fern was +8 to the good when that crash occurred. That's not going to help his case heading into Talladega.
Yep, Talladega is going to be a must-win for a lot of guys now. I think at minimum, Gerald Campbell, Josh Clark, and then maybe Matthew Weeks, maybe Colin Fern now as well. So, 4 guys pushing for that win. Going to be difficult. I think Tate Lytle just came down pit road from 4th.
Yeah, so there you go. We'll have to see exactly, but yeah, man, oh man, this is crazy how the second half of this race is playing out right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's this has gone completely berserk. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, it really has been just completely crazy, but yeah, we're gonna, you know what? I'll try and see if we can get these points updated once again with now this new incident in play.
Yeah, no, this is this is exactly what Johnny Thomas and Ryan Gavel wanted, which is they've now made it up to 2nd and 3rd, and as we get those points put in, that's wild, man. That's this race has completely changed. The usual suspects, the guys who dominated this race, are sitting 5th and 9th, and both of them have damage.
Yeah, no, this has been absolutely ridiculous the way this race is planned out. Yeah, just completely crazy in terms of now where the order sits. Not guys that you would. I mean, Ryan Gavel started 24th in this race.
And we talked about that right at the beginning of the show. Gavel missing his qualifying time and ending up putting up his first lap instead of his second lap. So that was a 24th best lap. Otherwise, he probably would have been in the top 10. Having to recover from that all race long, finally finds himself with an opportunity to win this race. And 3 guys in the chase between Rex and Gavel and Johnny Thomas that have not won a race this season, but all of them have been fast and been right up in the front battling for wins. So somebody who really deserves a win this season, which could be any of these three guys, may actually finally get one here today at Texas. That could have completely shaken things up.
Yeah, for sure. Here we go. Should have pretty much everything up to date now in terms of our point situation, and it's changed quite a bit here as we're getting ready to go back to green within a couple of laps. But the big news here is Colin Fern now sits -2 outside, putting Josh Robin right now inside the final group here. Jared Rexing again would be a lock with a win here. Johnny Thomas though just 3 points out. Hank Steinmiller just 2 points out. Colin Fern just 2 points out. So close at that bubble right there. Ridiculous.
It is going to be a wild finish to Talladega, I think, next week. You know, we're going to have to strap in for that one. It's going to be absolutely crazy. These guys battling from that close, and you saw Matthew Weeks was up at +20, right there with Josh Adams and Ryan Gavel when he was in the top 5. Chad Frankenfield was up at +25, +30 when he was up in the top 5. Those guys have fallen back now, and it seems to be up to these three that are up near the front between Gavel, Rexing, and Johnny Thomas to see who kind of decides this one. And the dark horse there, of course, is that 28 car, Tate Lytle. Playoff car, but not a playoff driver. We covered it, Josh Clark, moving into a new house tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So it shakes things up a lot here. Colin Fern even is going to keep dropping positions here, and he's actually dropped 2 positions since we showed that graphic. So Colin Fern now sits -4 outside of the cutoff, and he's going to keep dropping if guys keep running. There's a lot of cars still out on the racetrack behind him that are just a couple more laps down. So we could see Colin Fern drop as low as 29th position here.
Yeah, that's huge, man. It's going to be a lot of spots, I think. He won't drop below Damian Leininger, I don't think, because Leininger's car is equally destroyed, I believe. So both of them, I think, are done for the rest of this race.
Well, Dixon, Tooker, Talon are all out on the racetrack, so that's at least 3 cars that could potentially get past if they stay running here. But we're getting back to green flag racing, and that's what those guys will be hoping for, is green flag laps, I'm sure. But here we go. Lap 145 of 167, going to tick over to 146. Jared Rexing hits the gas pedal, and that means Ryan Gavel is now going to be kind of left for dead on that outside lane. Going to try and pinch it down on the 09, but here we go. Johnny Thomas slides into second position on the bottom lane.
Johnny Thomas now going to see what kind of speed that 09 car has. Tate Lytle, the one who kind of gets in behind him, and I don't know if these guys saw how some of these runs worked, but whenever you get in behind somebody, it seems like those guys just draft right up to the car in front of them. If Tate Lytle and Johnny Thomas stay glued together, they can get up to Jared Rexing and then decide it amongst themselves.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see kind of how this run pans out. Jared Rexing certainly not getting away early on in this run, and Johnny Thomas getting very close to the rear bumper of that 10 car with the help here of Tate Lytle. It's 3 in a row, and Johnny Thomas is going to look to the inside of Jared Rexing to see if he can make a move for the lead here on lap 147.
Don't look now, but Chuck Sweeting into the top 5 and trying to get around Ryan Gavel for 4th. That's another playoff driver, and we told you Chuck was going to be in the top 5 at the end of this one. Johnny Thomas to the lead at Texas.
Yeah, so Johnny Thomas now grabs that lap lead point. That's huge for him. Again, was out of the playoff picture despite being, right there in that final run for your regular season championship. Just did not have a great run at Mid-Ohio, but right now having the run of his life here at Legacy, Texas. And Ryan Gavel trying to work that outside lane with Jared Rexing, but it's now Tate Lytle sliding up into second position.
Tate just ran the fastest lap of the race, and he slides into second. So the 28 car not being driven by its usual occupant, Josh Clark. Instead, it's Tate Lytle in that car. Chad Frankenfield now trying to get back in the mix with him running the fastest lap of the race. So these guys are really pushing hard here in the last 20 laps. Rexing sideways off the corner. He and Gavel still side by side. That's going to open up the lead for Johnny Thomas and Tate Lytle to let them run away with it.
Yeah, here we go. So Gavel makes the outside move and just clears himself over the 10 car of Jared Rexing. Rexing now forced, I think, tight probably off of turn 4 there. He goes high, and that gives the move over, or that gives a position over to Chuck Sweeting. So Sweeting's now up into 4th.
And I think the battle is for the lead here. Johnny Thomas on the top, Tate Lytle on the bottom. Johnny let Tate in there, and that's going to be a tough move. Tate's so good at these mile-and-a-half tracks. Johnny's going to have to fight for his life up there. Josh Adams now underneath, Jeff Green behind. The battle for the lead, and it's going to be Tate Lytle through. Johnny's going to have to get in his draft and see if he can catch back up.
coming to 17 laps to go here in this race, and Johnny Thomas is not done with Tate Lytle just yet here. He's trying to look on this outside, see if he can make the move here. Not quite sure that's the line you want to take, though. We've seen as the run goes on, that outside lane really stops working, but Johnny Thomas going to have the run here. Can he look to the inside? Tate Lytle's going to defend, though, to the bottom lane.
Yeah, you gotta get into the inside down the straightaway. We've seen it. We saw Weeks block it. We saw Chad block it and spin somebody out from there. And the battle for third, Chuck Sweeting going around Ryan Gavel. That's, another move for that Chuck Sweeting machine. He's always in the end of these races. These chaotic races always seem to fall into the hands of Chuck Sweeting. It just always happens. He'll be there at the end when it gets chaotic.
Yeah, this is an incredible run here for Chuck Sweeting. Jared Rexing almost hits the wall off of turn 2. He's trying to look for a move on Ryan Gavel now into turn number 3. Doesn't quite get there. Ryan Gavel maybe gets loose through 3 and 4. Jared Rexing has to check up, and that might give the inside line to Chad Frankenfield, who's making a recovery drive up here. He gets to Ryan Gavel and Chad Frankenfield, the second car he's turned around here today.
We gotta remove the 15 car from. You got to give it well or something for that one, man. And Gavel does a good job of keeping it on, but another playoff can tend to ruin from the front bumper of the 15 car.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy, and no caution flag out for that incident either. So Chad Frankenfield stays in the 7th position, but that's the second car that Chad Frankenfield has turned today.
Absolutely incredible. And we'll see here if Johnny Thomas can bring in that Tate Lytle machine, and if Chuck Sweeting has anything for him. It's now a 3-car battle to decide this one. That cost Chad Frankenfield a lot of time. Ryan Gavel out of it now. And, it's Jared Rexing 4th, Adams now 5th. The points leader continues to stay out of trouble, elude these issues. And that's what Josh Adams just has to do pretty constantly, is get in there and just keep that nose of that 95 car clean, and he'll make it to the next round.
Yeah, here we go. Johnny Thomas not done with Tate Lytle yet. This battle for the lead is going to stay hot, I think, all the way to the checkered flag. Johnny Thomas, we know how hungry he is to try and get that 09 car to victory lane. He's been so competitive all year long, just hasn't quite brought that car to victory lane. Enjoying that call in the race chat right now from Ethan Burrell and Scott Crump watching on. But yeah, I mean, this battle for the lead is going to be great here. Just Johnny Thomas, what can he do to get to the back of Tate Lytle, and what can he do to try and make the move for the lead on Tate Lytle?
Johnny's got to stay in the draft. He's done a good job of keeping himself there with a car that seems to be a little bit faster right now. Johnny doesn't look overmatched. He looks like he can still get in there and set him up. It's just going to have to be some perfect laps here as we come through. It'll be about 10 laps to go, and Johnny's just going to have to run the race of his life here to catch up with Tate, lock himself into the next round. A second-place finish is good. I don't know that it's enough for Johnny Thomas.
Yeah, it might just be enough to keep him positive, but, man, again, you don't want to be just positive when you go to Talladega. You want to be, as close to locked into the next round as you can be. So, we'll see. Johnny Thomas is a great plate racer, though. We should always mention that. Always seems to compete very well at Talladega, at Daytona. But, again, you don't want to have to rely on that race to make it into the next round.
No, you don't. It's not. You going into Talladega as a must-win is the biggest concern you could possibly have. You're by no means guaranteed for anything when it comes to Talladega. And looking at the scoring pylon here, Josh Adams has fallen from 5th to 9th. Tyler Fode back to 10th. So some of those guys that seem pretty safe, just not having nearly as good a run as guys like Johnny Thomas, Chuck Sweeting, Jared Rexing. All of a sudden, this playoff field kind of seems to be changing as we go, especially as guys keep getting spun out by Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been an interesting kind of factor of this all. Chad up to the 5th position right now, past Michael Daniel Martinez and Jeff Green. So Chad realistically has recovered, better than many of the drivers that he's kind of come together with over the course of this race. But yeah, back up front, it really is just a 2-horse race. I think Chuck Sweeting maybe has fallen back just a tad bit too much here. Sits about half a second back from Johnny Thomas and Tate Lytle. Not quite close enough, and he's got to fight off Jared Rexing. But if Chuck Sweeting can grab a top 3, top 4, that'd be a great result here after starting at the back. Johnny Thomas right now closing in on Tate Lytle after
I'd
getting past that lap traffic.
I'd keep our camera on Chad Frankenfield here. He's about to have to pass one of those PER cars he ran over. I don't know if David Tooker would want to pull a Matt Kenseth, but let's see whether or not he does, and whether or not he makes life hard for Chad Frankenfield, because I think it's undoubtedly, you see David Tooker with a damaged car running directly in the lane in front of the car behind him that took him out of the race.
Yeah, no, I mean, David Tooker is well locked in, so there's really nothing for that 19 car that, that he can't do, but seems to maybe, I don't know, quite
Running in the lane.
out of the way.
Yep, running in the lane, trying to force Chad to run slower. And it looks like the Rexing and Sweeting machines catching up to the lead group. So this move right here, just by David Tooker running in the lane, is kind of keeping Chad Frankenfield back from that lead group. And that should be, enough to make it a 4-course race to the finish. And I think it might even just be Tate Lytle, unless Johnny Thomas can really make some ground up here in the last 5 laps.
Yeah, Johnny Thomas right now sits 2.5 tenths back from Tate Lytle. He's there. He can see that 28 car. He's using him as a yardstick, but I mean the difference is that you've got the 28 who's been running up front all day long. Johnny Thomas has had to work his way up to the front, so I'd probably argue that Tate Lytle right now has the fastest car of these 4 drivers.
Yeah, I think so.
And he's certainly using that to his advantage right now, leading this race and extending his gap now over Johnny Thomas.
So running he's ran a really smart race all day. Was one of the, right in the middle of the pit cycles, and kept that 25 car right up in the top 5 the whole race long. And he's starting to gap Johnny Thomas now. Johnny is giving it absolutely everything. It just seems like Johnny's got to do, speak to the voodoo gods or something to go in and get a win for one of these races. Chuck Sweeting won at Charlotte. We've well documented that, and Rexing won last year at Gateway. So we've seen those guys put in these victories, but poor Johnny Thomas just hasn't been able to find that speed enough to win any of these races, and it's just heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Thomas has had a top 5 car every single race this season, realistically, barring maybe 1 or 2, but yeah, it hasn't quite had enough to be there in victory lane quite yet, and still 3 laps to go here in this race. But yeah, Ethan Burrell commenting in the chat for the race. He knows Johnny's pain all too well, and yeah, I mean, how many times have we called Ethan Burrell, in second place there? So it's certainly a pain that's familiar with drivers here in the elite racing leagues, but not something that you wish.
Did Chuck save it? He did, but Jared Rexing's going to have the run.
It's going to be close here, yeah.
We've had a number of cautions in this one, and especially late, and we've seen the problems with this car behind. Chuck and Jared Rexing got to watch out, I think. And oh boy.
Yeah, here we go. Chad Frankenfield now back in this fight here. He might be able to grab a top 3 finish as he gets by Chuck Sweeting for 4th position. Going to chase down Jared Rexing, but we're heading over to the white flag for Tate Lytle. And how about Tate? I mean, the season he's had, it just has not been lucky for him, and it's probably weird for him to be bringing this 28 car possibly to victory lane here. It's not his number. He's got his regular car running elsewhere on the racetrack right now, filling in for Josh Clark, doing a great job for Pro Edge Racing, and yeah, just a great drive all day by Tate Lytle. He's going to round turns 3 and 4 in the Virginia Tech number 28 Toyota Camry for Pro Edge Racing. Tate Lytle wins the Safe Antifreeze and Coolants 250 here at Legacy Texas Motor Speedway. What a drive by the substitute driver.
Yep, great run by Tate Lytle there to finish in the win. Johnny Thomas second, Jared Rexing third. Great runs for them. Rexing finishes it off ahead of Chad Frankenfield. Chuck Sweeting takes home that 5th spot. So 4 playoff drivers with really strong runs ahead of Talladega. Josh Adams, Tyler Fode, Hank Steinmiller are in the top 10, so that's good news for them. Everyone else, though, it's going to be a crapshoot here. The points are going to be really close. Talladega is going to be wild next week.
It is going to be so close. And once again, now that we have these final results kind of in, I'm gonna sort through and figure out exactly, or as close as we can be, the point situation we've got heading in to Talladega. While we watch the celebrations here for Tate Lytle, bringing that car back to victory lane. Now, when was the last time this 56 car won or not the 56, but when was the last time Tate Lytle won a Cup Series race?
Oh, it's been a couple of years now, I think, for Tate Lytle. I'm sure Tate will let us know once we get him in for the interview. It's been quite a bit of time. He's won a number of the Xfinity races and a number of ERSCA races since then, but boy, Yeah, it's been a while, and I don't think Josh Clark has an Elite Cup Series win. If he does, it's a while back, and so Josh Clark's 28 car also hasn't gone to victory lane. So this is a first for both of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And here you go, your the victory lap here for Tate Lytle. Oh, who was that?
David Tooker is who it
Of
was.
course.
I think that was calculated by Lytle.
There you go. A nice celebration there from teammate David Tooker.
Matthew Weeks does finish 16th on the grid. Looking through the top 10, good run for Michael Daniel Martinez and Jeff Green, both picking up top 10 runs. And Green has not had the kind of season we kind of thought he was going to have, but he really ran a good race today. Avoided all the chaos.
Yeah, let's see if we've got any of our top 3 finishers waiting for us in the booth right now while I sort through these points.
We have Chad, but he's not a top 3 finisher. So
oh, yep.
We'll wait on that, and let's see if we can go through the results. I think from 11th to 20th here while we wait for Tayton, Rexing, and Johnny.
For sure. There we go. So there's the next page of our results.
Brandon Key was quite good today. He was really impressive. Ran in the top 10 for a good portion of the day, and then ended up finishing 11th. So that's a good run. Zishan Dura and Corey Abbott both great runs there. Richard Hines, Michael Goodman. I think Goodman got involved in a couple of wrecks. Weeks does finish 16th, so he's able to salvage a decent day, though I think definitely not what he was expecting.
Now we'll head over to the next page here, and yeah, you see David Tooker. Good for him that he's got that win to help him out. You look further back, Colin Fern down to 26th position is where that slide kind of stops for him. That's a painful finish right there for that car, I'll tell you that. And yeah, all right, so I believe I have the most up-to-date version of our points here. Do not quote me as exactly correct here, because I'm sure we missed maybe a lap lead point or some bonus point here, but this is what it looks like. Josh Adams looks fairly comfortable with Chad Frankenfield and Tyler Fody as well, looking pretty solid heading into Talladega. And then we get to the very close guys. Chuck Sweeting, Ryan Gavel, Jared Rexing, Matthew Weeks, those guys 8 and 6 points ahead of the cut line. And then Johnny Thomas and Josh Robin, just 1 point separates those two from being in and out. Hank Steinmiller and Colin Fern, two very strong drivers that I'm surprised to see are sitting out of the cut line right now.
Yep, that's wow. It's going to be really close. 1 point for Johnny Thomas. Let's talk to him really quick. Johnny, David up in the booth. It looks like you gave it everything you had there, man. Just came up 1 spot short.
Yeah, man. Yeah, me and Tate has had a lot of battles, and it's been dated back for many, many years. And, guys, I'm just thrilled to be relevant again. It's been a long time since I've been a top 3 car, and by no means was I a top 3 car tonight. I just put myself in a good position. Got a good restart there, past Rexing. I knew Tate was going to be fast. I wasn't strong after 5 laps. The only time I got somewhat fast was in the first 5 laps, and then probably like 20, 25 laps in the run. But I gave it all I had, man. I'm mentally drained, and one day we're gonna get a win here.
Yeah, man. I mean, you've been so close there so often. Realistically, I mean, we go back. I mean, Mid-Ohio was really the weakest point probably for you this season. And that does mean that as it sits right now, you're just +1 to the good. But, I mean, that really hasn't been reflective of your season at all, has it? And we head over to Talladega, typically a track that we'd expect to see you run well at, right?
For sure. No, we're going for the win there, just like we do every Daytona and Talladega, every plate race. Mid-Ohio, it's a road course, and I put no thought in the road courses. I'm bad at them. I'm horrible. I always lobby Chad to take him off the schedule, but he's never going to do that. He'll add more than take races off. So we're going to go Talladega. We're going to win the thing, and we're going to go into the next round. That's my plan.
Yeah, Johnny, what's your kind of plan for Talladega? You're 1 point to the good, so you're just going to go out, try to lead all the laps and win the race, or are you going to try to maybe keep it safe, keep the fenders on it, and get him at the end?
Yeah, try to beat that 95 car is my goal. Josh is fast, and he's one of the best there, probably the best in Elite at these plate tracks. I'm going to see how the race progresses. I've done a good job, knock on wood, at avoiding some of these big wrecks at these plate tracks. And if I can avoid that and just see how the race plays out, if chase guys get involved in these big crashes, then I don't have to go for it, because that'd be stupid for me to try to take a chance. But like I said, I think when you guys interviewed me a few months ago, I'm here to win races, and that's all I want to do is just win a race. And the points will play out. If I win Talladega, I'm good. So that's my goal.
All right, well, Johnny, I want to give you a chance to make any shout-outs here on the air. Love having you up here in the booth. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we'll have you back up here with a victory. But, yeah, any shout-outs for you?
It's going to be one heck of a party if I win. 3 beers for everybody.
Oh, I'm down for that.
You and Ethan Burrell are the two that need to get a win here.
We'll get one. I just want to thank Manscaped for jumping on board. I love this paint scheme. You guys seem to really enjoy it as well. We're renewing one more year with Richmar Floors. Want to give them a shout out. That 09 car will be back next season. And Belly Up Sports, man. Mike Brown and everybody at Belly Up Sports, they do a tremendous job, and they've supported me for quite a while. Just you guys for putting on this thing.
Awesome job, man. Congratulations on the P2 here. Best of luck at Talladega next week.
Thanks, guys. Yep.
That's Johnny Thomas. And now we'll hear from race winner Tate Lytle. We'll bring him in now. And Tate, congratulations on the win, man. Running for Josh Clark.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, that was a interesting race. I'm sure it was fun from your guys' perspective.
Fun's a word for it, man. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I gotta ask before we get maybe into some more serious questions, I guess. But I mean, what's it like to run out there, seeing your car run by somebody else while you're running in somebody else's car?
Well, I don't have a charter right now, so I think the 56 tonight was technically the 37.
Okay.
We didn't get it situated in time before we could switch the numbers. But yeah, it was definitely weird when he said 56 car pitting, and I'm like, no, I'm not actually.
Yeah, what did you think of that? You kind of ran the mid-pack strategy the whole race. The pitting in the middle and then kind of just coming out. But you kept the fenders on it, you kept it clean, and you ended up in the perfect spot. What was your thoughts as that race kind of went green before it went kind of crazy?
Yeah, I don't know. I got a lot of thoughts. I mean, I feel like I was going to probably run second to Chad. Chad was going to win by a lot with he had a strategy figured out a little bit better than us that first run and kind of gapped us all. I think if that caution has come out, we're talking about Chad winning and me finishing second or third, probably 9 seconds, 10 seconds behind him. And yeah, I got stuck a lap down. Ran into the back of Fern under caution on accident, so sorry to him because I think it ended up screwing him more than it screwed me, obviously. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't think I was going to have a chance at all at the win. Made a couple 3-wide moves down the back and found myself in the top couple rows. Restarts worked out well. And I mean, honestly, that's probably about as sad as I've ever been winning a race because there's not a whole lot of things I want to see more than Johnny Thomas win a race out here. And passing him for the win was a little bittersweet, but good race for him for points, second place. Yeah, I mean, it was a good one.
Yeah, Tay, obviously a great job filling in and great to see you back in victory lane. It's certainly been a little while, or it feels like it has been in the Cup Series especially. So great to see that. Do you think we'll be seeing you back for a full season in 2021B, or is this still just part-time right now?
I mean, it's hard for me to commit to anything with my line of work. It's kind of hit or miss on when I'm able to race and not just being on the West Coast. I mean, trying to be online by 5:30 is a lot harder than being online by 8:30. So it's a little tougher over here, but I mean, I'd like to run some more races. I think this is I've ran a handful of Cup races this year, but I think this is the first track that I've been able to run where I actually thought I had a realistic chance at it. And I don't know, I really didn't have the speed either for a win, but that's not always how racing works. Sometimes it just comes down to circumstance, and we were on the right end of the circumstance tonight.
Yeah, Tay, you got any shout outs for us here to close it out for your Cup win?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan probably watching this on his phone. Clark, 28 car in Victory Lane, baby, if he's listening. Didn't have him on the car tonight, but days gone by, Brett Wentz, he helps me out a lot. And yeah, I don't know. It's good to be back in Victory Lane. Shout out to Johnny for a solid PT run, though.
Yes, sir, man. Well, congratulations again on the victory. Great to have you back here in Cup racing. Certainly always a threat to win when you are here. So hoping to see some more of you. But, yeah, enjoy this one. And, yeah, hope to see you for a couple more races here this season.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing what you do.
Yes, sir. Tate Lytle, your race winner here at the Safe Antifreeze and Coolants 250.
There it is. All right, so that wraps up another one of these playoff races, and Rich, Talladega's next week, and the points are really close.
Yeah,
Right?
this is gonna be ridiculous, isn't it? It's yeah, I mean, so close between all of these guys, and I mean it's been close all season. But Talladega, we've seen just how quickly things can change. Just 2 weeks ago we were at Daytona, or 3 weeks ago we were at Daytona, and we saw how quickly points situations can shift for drivers being in 1 second and out the next. So there's a lot to play for here. It's going to be interesting, especially if you go even off of the Xfinity race on Monday from Talladega. So tons to look forward to for us up here in the booth. I'm sure the drivers aren't quite as excited as we are.
Yeah, Talladega's broadcaster stream with the elimination system and format here, and only one guy's locked in. It's David Tooker. Everybody else is at risk. If Josh Adams has a bad race, if any of these, if Joe Campbell or Josh Clark wins, it could throw this entire grid on its head. And like we said on Monday, we saw Chad Frankenfield leading with 5 to go out at the end of the race. It could very well come down to that. Chad's the second highest points in the race right now, and after he ran today, he certainly didn't make any friends on track. Next week, you need friends. You need people that are going to draft with you. I think people are going to be hanging the 15 car out.
Yeah, for sure. And we know Chad Frankenfield aggressive on all types of racetracks, but especially on super speedway and plate tracks. So yeah, look out. It's going to be really, really interesting. I think when we get down to it, you guys at home are going to see all the action right here on the Elite Racing Network. Myself and David Westergreen will be bringing you all of that action 8:30 p.m. Eastern Wednesday night. So definitely make sure you guys are staying tuned. But any final thoughts here from Texas, David?
Nope. Tune in, boys. Tune in at Talladega. It's going to be wild.
All right, then with that, from myself, Rishav Khosla, and David Westergreen, you've been watching the Elite Racing Network, the Safe Antifreeze and Coolants 250 from Legacy Texas Motor Speedway here on iRacing. Join us next week for Talladega and the first round of the Chase Cutoff race. It's going to get wild, boys and girls. Let's enjoy this one. We'll see you guys next week.